Hello everyone, welcome back to Murder's Game Over Deal Killer. We need to talk with suspects again. The first one is Anna Russo. Go ahead, keep doing your job. Where were you? Before the lights went out, I was downstairs in the basement checking on the power generator. I wanted to make sure that the power would go off as scheduled. Where were the others? I saw the group drinking grappa in the lounge earlier. Lana Grandma had a lot to drink. I stayed out of the den, of course. I didn't want to interrupt Billy Grandma the first and his important meetings. Did you kill him? Knock it off, detective. I may have had my reasons for wanting to scare people away from this hotel, but I certainly didn't need to kill anybody to do it. That's all. Thank you, Anna. The next one would be... I'm also missing one doggy bag, so maybe let's switch to Cleo and see, maybe I will find it somewhere, maybe in the den? Is there a doggy bag here? No? No? No. Alright. Maybe there is one in the basement. Let's go back down there again. Doggy bags? No, nothing here. And nothing here. I want to find it. That's the last one. I want to find the last doggy bag. Alright. Coming back up. Maybe I missed one in someone's room. Oh, we shall see. Alright, there is no doggy bags here. So switching back to detective guy. Let's go. Ty Lipson. No doggy bags. I didn't notice that you had such beautiful hair. I hope you know what you're doing, because you're getting on my nerves. Where were you? Before the lights went out, I was guarding the door to the den. Mr. Kramer had his meetings to attend, and it's my responsibility to keep him undisturbed. I had no idea about what had happened between him and Sandra Burke. Nobody told me she had been fired. How was I to know she'd come here to have it out with him? Where were the others? I'm certain that I know what I saw, detective, no matter how many times I've been banged up. Sometime after Mr. Kramer's argument with Sandra Burke, his daughter Lena came into the den. No, I never actually saw her enter the room, but she's the only one artsy enough to walk around the office wearing those spooky costumes. Later, I could still hear my boss talking with the lawyer, Ned Dillman, right until when the lights went out. I had no idea something was amiss. It sounded like a normal meeting to me, just like any other time I kept watch outside the door to my boss's office. Did you kill him? No way! I'm a prize fighter, not a murderer. There are rules in the ring after all. I heard his voice in the room right up until the moment the power went out, right until that spooky singing. Whoever crept past me to kill him must have been the world's top stealth assassin. No more questions. Thank you, Ty. What is happening? Are we okay? Hello, Carol Winters. Do you have a doggy bag here in your room? No, you don't. Do you have any idea who could have killed my boss? Where were you? You're asking where I was before the lights went out. I was in the lounge trying to advise Billy's daughter not to drink too much. At least I convinced her to go lie down. If she had ran her mouth to her father in front of the Comp Incorporated lawyer, it could have derailed everything. Where were others? Let's see. After I walked Lana to her room, I didn't see Billy Jr., Jerry Small, or the innkeeper anywhere. I assumed Billy Sr. was still in the den. I was hoping he'd have a change of heart and listen to Sandra Burke, maybe even rehire her. Did you kill him? Of course I didn't kill my boss. It's horrible for the company what's happened, don't you see? If you haven't figured it out by now. I'm the one who impersonated Billy Kramer Sr. and sent you and Cleo that letter in the mail. I did it to protect not just him, but the huge payroll of employees that depend on him. I only hope that it wasn't all in vain, that you and Cleo can bring his killer to justice now. Done for now? Thank you, Carol. Jerry Small, any doggy bags in your room? No, no doggy bags. Alright. How long are you going to keep us all in the dark? Where were you? Before the lights went out, I was here in my room. I'm not a very social person. I prefer video games. Where were the others? I don't know. I didn't see anybody. Did you kill him? No, I wasn't here. That's right. I was alone. I'd never even threatened to kill my boss, I promise. Alright. Done for now. I'm going upstairs. Any doggy bags? I'm scared. Something is happening. Any doggy bags here maybe I missed? I don't see any. Lana... Oh, here is a doggy bag. Cleo found a doggy bag. Total doggy bags found 25 out of 25. Wonderful. Good job, Cleo. Hi, Lana. You know, lots of people wanted my father dead. Where were you? Before the lights went out, I was drinking downstairs with my dad's secretary, Carol Winters. So then I'm gonna tell Dad, I just wanna lie down. Oh dear, sweetie, how much have you had to drink? I'm gonna put on my zombie makeup and make him think I'm really dead. That'll show him. Then he'll know how it feels to have a daughter he completely ignores because of his job. You know, sometimes I really wish he was dead. We really need to get you to your room before you do something stupid. Innkeeper, can you please take this bottle someplace where she can't get it? Of course, I'll take it down to the basement into storage, along with her box of costumes. Thank you. I'd better escort this one back to her bedroom now. You're saying that grappa bottle was clean? Nobody drugged it? Then I wonder what could have happened. Where were the others? I didn't see anyone else. I wasn't here asleep. The last thing I remember is Carol Winters helping me into bed. I slept through everything that happened until you and your dog came into my room. Did you kill him? Get real, detective. I wouldn't kill my own father. No matter how much he disagreed with my life choices, he's still my dad. Well, I wanted to scare him a little bit, make him think, you know? Done for now? Alright. The next one is Sandra Berg. Hello, Sandra Berg. I know it looks bad for me, but I didn't do it. Where were you? Well, you already know about my altercation with my former boss earlier in the den. After that, I just cooled off in that lounge as I waited for the snowmobile to arrive. The innkeeper saw me. You did too, detective, if you remember. Where were the others? Billy Kramer Sr. was in the den, along with a lawyer from Comp Incorporated. His bodyguard was outside the door. The lawyer is the most promising suspect right now. Usually, at this point, I would have an idea who the murderer is, but I don't know. I saw the innkeeper in the lounge afterwards. I didn't see much of the Kramer kids before the uproar when you arrived though. Lana was probably drinking and working on her art. Billy Jr. was probably watching cartoons and trying to look like he's working. Those were their usual habits. Did you kill him? I may have said that I wanted to kill him because I was angry. What he did was unfair. I was going to file a lawsuit for wrongful termination after I came to my senses. Good for now. The next one is Billy Kramer II. Do you even have the authority to make an arrest? Where were you? You're asking where I was before the lights went out? If you must know, I was working on an extremely important business task. It's top secret. I don't have to answer to an annoying nuance of an amateur detective like you. Where were the others? I can't speak for anybody else. I was too busy. Stop pestering me. Did you kill him? I didn't want to run the business. I wanted my father alive. How dare you accuse me of murdering my father? Don't you realize how bad shape the company is in now? Without him? Sorry for your loss. There was inconsistency related to whereabouts of Billy Kramer, but I don't remember who that was. Great. And the last one. Ned Dillman. Any new information, detective? Where were you? You're asking for my whereabouts before the lights went out. I was in the den with Mr. Kramer working on the legal paperwork to complete the sale of Hack Division to my employer, Comp Incorporated. When you and your dog first arrived at the hotel, Mr. Kramer asked me to greet you. Before that, I was in the den the whole time working with Mr. Kramer, who was still very much alive. Where were the others? Well, I assume Mr. Kramer's bodyguard, Ty Lipson, was outside the den guarding the door. That was his job after all. Except for the moment he let that disgruntled former employee barge through and complain to her former boss. Miss Burke, that was it. She was the one who connected with Comp Incorporated when we were looking to buy the game publisher. Did you kill him? I assure you, I wanted Comp Incorporated to buy Hack Division games as much as anyone. We were going to make a fortune of the Paladin Dream games. Of course, now it seems that the whole business deal is going to have to be negotiated again from scratch, with Mr. Kramer's son, Billy II, at the helm, so I think that makes you the most probable suspect, because I would assume that you will have to pay less. Much less. What a mess that's going to be. So much redundant work to do. done for now. Okay, so do we have any conclusion, any thoughts about everything? Because I don't have any. Uh-oh. The lights, they went out again. You're right, Cleo, I don't hear any ghostly singing this time either. We gotta hurry down to the generator room in the basement and get the power back on. I hope we will find the way. Oh no, the ghost. Hey, stop! Hey! I cannot move. Can we move, please? Whoever that was, they got away so fast. Because I couldn't move. Do we follow the ghost? Or do we go to the basement? I guess we need to go to the basement. That sounded like a window shattering somewhere upstairs. Okay, I think that we still need to go to the generator. Cleo? It looks like somebody came down here and turned the power off manually. Did we restore the power? Phew. At least the lights are on again. Let's go back upstairs and investigate the sound of the glass shattering. Everyone is in the lounge. What are you doing over here? Were you too scared to stay in your rooms? That's so weird that you're all here. Okay, first the den. Cleo found a clue. The speakers that were plugged into the computer when I searched this room earlier are gone. Aha! I mean, you could open the laptop and search for an audio file with recording of Billy Kramer the First talking with Ned Dillman, but that wouldn't tell who created that file, right? And we found a broken window. The window has been shattered. That must have been the noise we heard from downstairs. The hole in this window looks about the same size as those laptop speakers that were on the table earlier. Could someone have thrown them out the window while the lights were out for the second time? And why? I would assume that it makes better sense to throw the laptop away. Maybe not. What, this is happening again? I think I've solved this mystery. There is a lot of complications, but I think I know who killed Billy Kramer, why they did it, and how it was done. Wonderful, I have no idea. Begin the explanation? Yes. Are you sure? Yes, I have no other choice. There is just one more thing we need to do with that electrical controller first. Then I'll assemble all the suspects in the den where the murder happened. Interesting. This is the first time, I just don't know. I would assume that would be Ned Dillman, but in this part of the story, Detective Guy will explain the solution to the mystery. A correct answer will earn a point. Accumulating enough points will result in convincing the others of the solution. A low score, less than half correct, will not be convincing. Lovely. Can we really trust this amateur detective's judgment on a matter as important as my father's murder? We have no choice. When the public finds out what happened, it will ripple through the entire company. The acquisition deal I spent all this time negotiating could be completely thrown out. We might have to start again from scratch. I want to get out of here as soon as possible. I never should have come to this place. If any of you try and leave, you're gonna have to get past me. None of us are going anywhere until we know who did it. Like it or not, we're all stuck here until the mystery is solved. We are all in agreement then. Go ahead, detective, tell us what happened. Good. One of you is the killer and I know who. The mystery began long before any of us arrived at the Cresta di Montagna Hotel for the Hack Division Games holiday party. Before we arrived here, Cleo and I were sent something astonishing in the mail, which served as an introduction of the events to come. This was the item we received. We received the victim's letter. At first, Cleo and I were skeptical that it was genuine. As it turned out, our instincts were right. Then our airline tickets arrived. I still say it's ridiculous, my father would never write to you. But he really got a death threat, and somebody really did kill Billy Kramer the First. What do you mean your instincts were right? We'll come back to that later. As it turned out, the murder happened shortly after we arrived. Cleo and I stood in the doorway to the lounge arguing with Billy Kramer Jr. and Ned Dillman. The innkeeper was quietly behind her desk, and Sandra Berg was angrily pacing near the fireplace. That was when it happened. When what happened, detective? Another blackout? Oh no. Oh my god. The ghost is back, not again. Everyone, be careful. What's going on? This happened. The lights in the hotel went out. A power outage. Hey, wait. How did you know that would happen? It's like you planned it. Yes, exactly. Along with the lights out, we all had a spooky singing voice coming from somewhere nearby, but it was impossible to determine the source. What was it? Somebody wanted us all to believe that it was because of a supernatural curse. When I first explored the hotel lobby, I found this item which provided a detailed account of a spooky alpine ghost legend. A folklore book? The folklore book. The book we found contained a sad and haunting story about the alpine ghost legend of the White Lady. The tale described the apparition as a harbinger of death, witnessed in a blizzard and accompanied by ghostly singing. Yeah, and look what happened. Yes, it's true. There was a blizzard, we heard ghostly singing, and then Billy Kramer I was found stabbed to death. You're gonna tell us that Billy Kramer I, the president of Hack Division Games, was killed by a ghost? Come on. I'm merely acknowledging that all three events happened at the same time. What about causation? Obviously, the circumstances surrounding Mr. Kramer's death were very suspicious, especially after I spoke with everyone who was in the hotel at the time. I discovered each of you had a motive for wanting him dead. Are you absolutely sure that it had to be one of us? It's the only possible explanation. The front door to the lounge is the only way out of the hotel. The den window opens on top of a steep cliff. It would have been impossible for some unknown assassin to pass through the den without being seen, and anyone attempting to escape through the den window would plunge to their death. What motive could I have possibly had to kill the senior Billy Kramer? My employer was about to buy his company. You certainly had your own suspicious private agenda. How do you mean? Besides the victim, you were the one who had intimate knowledge of the acquisition of Hack Division Games by Comp Incorporated. The terms of the deal were completely transparent. By next quarter, they'd be available to any Comp Incorporated stockholder. Cleo and I found evidence that you had connected with somebody in the area for a secret meeting. Steakhouse receipt. The steakhouse receipt. Before arriving at the hotel, you had paid for dinner at a restaurant in Torino with an unknown guest. Who was it? I can guarantee that my personal dinner guest was not someone who is here in this room now. Who says that I need to disclose my personal dinner plans or list my business associates? I am under no such obligation to the deceased or to any of you. Your omission of this rendezvous is important regardless. It shows your dealings with my father haven't been entirely above board and trustworthy. Lana Kramer, are you really in a position to point the finger of suspicion? Maybe you should take a look at your green face in the mirror first. Hey, what did I do? You were planning to theoretically fake your own death to get your father's attention. The White Lady ghost legend tells of a hooded, veiled spirit haunting this region of the mountains. At least one person here claimed to see someone dressed in a white veil and hood. You are a professional costume designer. I found this item in the hotel basement which could have provided you a disguise. Costume box. The costume box. You could have stored a costume which looked like the White Lady ghost in your box of costumes. It would have been easiest for you, out of everyone, to disguise yourself. I did make a costume like that, but not for myself. I sold it already. It was a commission to an anonymous buyer on the internet. If I had a costume like that, then tell me where it is now. I bet you did it for attention, or was it for Daddy's money instead? Do you want to have a conversation about looking for money now, Mr. Lipson? What are you talking about? Some people would do ruthless and desperate things for money, wouldn't you agree? I'm just a professional bodyguard. Somebody who was physically close to the victim in his office saw an opportunity. After we unlocked the victim's hotel suite, Cleo and I discovered something that somebody had planned to use against Mr. Kramer for money. Blackmail photos. The folder with photographs that was intended to be used as blackmail. You found out about something shady and illegal that your boss had done and decided to try and use it for your own personal gain. You were planning to blackmail Billy Graham I. How did you find out about that? I just say I know someone scary who can read your thoughts. Alright, it's true. I was gonna blackmail my boss because I found out his move to terminate Sandra Burke was illegal and expensive. But I didn't kill him. Then how would I get the money? What a sleazy and opportunistic thing to do. How do we know that you didn't kill him because he found out about your blackmail scheme? Miss Burke, you are free to make a conjecture about somebody else's motive, but I should remind you that you are the only person here who openly threatened the victim. I found this item in your hotel room which confirms your grudge against the victim, as well as your motive for murder. Pink slip. The pink slip. After you found out you had been terminated and lost your bonus from the Activision buyout deal, you came here to threaten your former boss. You even suggested you'd kill him. I never should have come here. It would have been smarter to take my chances in court. I admit that what I said was stupid, but I didn't kill him. That might as well be confession. When will the police show up and arrest her? How convenient it was that Sandra Burke had just been fired. How convenient for you and your father, don't you think? What are you talking about? She was gonna kill him. What could have made Sandra Burke so angry that she uttered such a threat in public? Why was she fired? When I found this item, I was able to gain insight into Hack Division's finances. It revealed the true motive for Sandra Burke's firing: the balance sheet. Hack Division's company balance sheet. Sandra Burke stood to make an enormous commission from the sale of the company, and your father wanted to keep that money for himself. Your father needed an accomplice to plant the death threat in Sandra Burke's belongings and frame her for that. The senior Billy Kramer's bodyguard, Ty Lipson, found out about the plot and intended to blackmail him. He also were next in line to lead the company in the events of your father's death. So what you're saying is, if we follow the money, then we'll discover the culprit? Follow the money? Yes, it's like a treasure hunt. Wouldn't you say so, Miss Russo? 2 years ago, you overheard a conversation between Jerry Small and the deceased game designer, Lord Russell Gallant, about a priceless treasure on this mountain. A treasure you wanted so badly that you even scattered away all your hotel guests. Cleo and I found this item, which proves that despite being a scenic tourist destination, the Cresa di Montagna Hotel has had almost no guests during the last 2 years. Hotel logbook. The hotel logbook. You've been scaring guests away from this hotel for 2 years, which is exactly when you overheard the conversation about Russell Gallant's treasure. A treasure that despite your best efforts you were unable to find. You used the Alpine ghost legend of the White Lady for your own benefit and planted the folklore book for anyone in your hotel to see. You planned those horrifying electrical power blackouts to happen just like clockwork. And the ghostly singing? I used to try as an opera singer in Siena. Hey, wait, so there is no ghost? That's what you're saying? The whole thing was faked? This was all because of that time you heard my old friend tell me about the treasure, and you had the nerve to scare everyone because of it? The innkeeper isn't the only one here who knows about scaring people, Mr. Small. Would you also like to tell us all what you know about making threats? What? Huh? When we explored Billy Kramer's hotel room, the Emperor Suite, Cleo and I found something that was intended to make him fear for his life: the death threat. The death threat that was sent to the senior Mr. Kramer. Billy Kramer and his son pinned the death threat on Sandra Burke as an excuse to have her fired, but she was not the one who sent it. Who was it? Who else stood to lose a lot from Hack Division games being bought out by Comp Incorporated? Was there someone else whose job was in jeopardy? Alright, I admit it, I sent the death threat. I figured that I'd be laid off and Comp Incorporated gained creative control over Paladin Dream, and I didn't want that to happen. So then, I took the fall for you? I'm sorry, I was looking out for myself. I had no idea any of this would happen. You deceived your own employer. The death threat was just a trick from a desperate employee hoping to hold on to their position in the company. How unethical. You want to talk about ethics, Miss Winters? How about the ethics of impersonating your boss? Well, When we found the pink slip that the victim wrote, we noticed that it was signed Billy. However, the victim's letter we received in the mail was signed William Kramer I. This inconsistency suggested that these two documents were actually written by two different people. Miss Burke's pink slip was obviously genuine. So then our letter was composed by somebody else who was pretending to be Billy Kramer I. I told you my father would never have contacted you. Am I right or am I right? When we found this clue, we discovered that somebody admitted to impersonating Billy Kramer I, and that was employee's notebook. The employee's notebook. The murder victim never wrote to Cleo and I, never warned us about the death threat, and never sent us any airline tickets to Italy. These actions were all performed by senior Mr. Kramer's secretary Carl Winters. I only did it to protect my boss, to protect the company, the employees. You embezzled money from the company to pay airline fare for a detective and a dog. How dare you? As you can see, Billy really was murdered. Are you planning to actually do anything about it, detective? This public shaming of all of us has gone on quite long enough. Solve the case or I'll break your face. When pondering over a solution, I had 4 questions that kept bothering me. When did the murder happen? Why did the lights go off the first time? How did the killer escape? Why did the lights go off again for the second time later? Do you have the answers? At first, the murder seemed physically impossible. The senior Mr. Kramer was stabbed in the den while the lights were out, with his faithful bodyguard outside the door. That does seem impossible. There is no way anybody could have snuck around Talib's and gone in or out of the den in pitch black. We were all led to assume that the murder happened during the first blackout. But what if the murder really happened before the lights were out? What if Billy Kramer the first was already dead when the lights went out? Then the murder was actually committed earlier. It seemed impossible because it was impossible. When was Billy Kramer the first murdered? I would think before first blackout, but also I'm wondering if that would be a nice distraction after the blackout to commit the murder. Well, before first blackout. The victim was already dead by the time the innkeeper's spooky charade happened. Why did the lights go out for the first time? To scare guests away, a supernatural occurrence? To destroy evidence? To destroy evidence? Oh, so that wasn't correct. To scare guests away then. The innkeeper was scaring guests away so she could look for the treasure. You've already told us that, detective. This strange innkeeper here had engineered the blackouts to scare her guests away. Can we end this inquest now? Just because I haunted my hotel doesn't mean I killed some business tycoon. But you're the only one here who knew that the lights were going to go out. That's where you're wrong, Mr. Dillman. The snowmobile driver also knew about my plan. He helped me rig up the electrical room controls for the time to blackout. So, can we assume that Ned Dillman had a dinner with this driver to talk with him about it? The snowmobile driver, but he left the hotel a long time ago. How can you accuse someone who isn't even actually here, detective? Anna Russo may not have told anybody else about her methods of scaring away the hotel guests, but the snowmobile driver ran his mouth. When Cleo and I were riding to the Cresta di Montagna hotel, the driver hinted to us about the mysterious happenings going on. Hey, they say the Cresta di Montagna hotel and the surrounding area is haunted. I guess you two haven't heard of the White Lady before. If you treat me to a steak dinner and a couple of rounds of drinks sometime, I'll tell you all about it too. A steak dinner and a couple rounds of drinks. Personally, I lost my appetite. Why are you bringing this up, detective? At the time the snowmobile driver said it, I wasn't sure what to think either. A clue connects the snowmobile driver to one of the other hotel guests. One of you had taken him up on his offer and he told you everything about the rigged power outage and the phony ghost girls. Who else met with the snowmobile driver? The same person who took him out to a fancy steak dinner in Torino, Ned Dillman. Alright, it's true. I went out for dinner with the snowmobile driver. My signature is on the receipt. We dinner guest may not be one of us, but he was someone who knew about what was going on at this hotel. I see. Then the snowmobile driver told you all about how he and I set up the electrical blackouts. What connection could this have to the lights going out for the second time? If the killer didn't enter and exit the den during the blackout, then that person must have been in the room already. Who went into the den? We know the murder victim was alive when Sandra Burke barged into the den to protest her termination from the firm. He sure was alive and just as slimy as ever. How can you talk about my wonderful father like that? Some time after that, but before the lights went out, Ty Lipson says he saw Lana Graham leaving the den wearing one of his spooky costumes. It wasn't me. I never went to the den. I was passed out in bed. My boss was still alive when that happened. I could still hear him speaking from outside the door to the room. How was it possible that nobody saw the senior Billy Kramer's killer leave the den? I saw his daughter leaving the den wearing that costume. She scared the hell out of me. No, that's not possible. It's true, I helped Lana to bed. I can assure you that she was in no state to do any such thing. Cleo and I found this item in the basement, which worked as a sedative for Miss Kramer. Grappa bottle. The bottle of grappa she drank from. Lana Kramer was so sedated that she slept through the murder and the blackout. That girl must have drank an awful lot. The bottle was drugged. It must have been. Not so. When Cleo examined the bottle of grappa, she determined that it was clean. Then why did Lana get so sleepy? I can answer that one. What? We're up in the mountains. Since Lana arrived here recently, her body has not yet adjusted to the lower oxygen levels, so the alcohol had a stronger effect. I see. Then there is a natural reason why the liquor hit my system so hard. What does my sister's drinking problem have to do with solving my father's murder? It establishes that it couldn't have been Lana that Ty Lipson saw leaving the den wearing the costume. How did the killer escape from the den? Wearing a costume. The murderer put on the ghostly costume which scared the victim's bodyguard, leaving in plain sight. Finally, the reason for the second blackout? Obviously more of the innkeeper trying to frighten us into believing in her lurid ghost story. I'm not so sure. I didn't hear any more of her spooky singing this time. All I heard was the window in the den being smashed open. I agree, I didn't hear any singing the second time either. Who broke the window and why did they do it? Yeah, it's getting chilly in here. Are we almost done with this, detective? Did you find any new clues in here? Nothing new was added, but something that was here earlier had been removed. After the second power outage, Cleo and I discovered that this item had been thrown out the den window. Computer speakers. Why did the killer need to get rid of the computer speakers? What were they trying to hide? Ty Lipson could hear his boss speaking outside the door to the den, but couldn't see him. We have only the overheard sound of his voice to verify that Billy Graham I was still alive during the interval after the White Lady Ghost exited the room and when the lights went out. That's because the voice he heard was a recording of his boss's voice placed through the speakers. Billy Kramer I was already dead. Our murderous ghost, assumed to be Lana Kramer, had already left the scene hidden in the plain sight. Why did the lights go out again for the second time? To destroy evidence. The killer shut the power off in order to get rid of the computer speakers. Who did it, detective? Who killed my father? It sounds like you know the identity of the person wearing the ghost costume, even if Ty never saw the person's face. Do you know? Everyone present had a motive. It could have been a frustrated, money-hungry bodyguard whose employer had foiled his blackmail scheme, or was it a secretary who was brazen enough to embezzle money and impersonate her boss? How about a creative director who was so worried about losing his job that he sent the murder victim a death threat? What about a wayward, attention-seeking daughter? Or a disgruntled former employee who felt she was wronged by the victim? It could have been the lawyer sitting on the other side of the desk on the deal that was so important to both parties. Could it have been the victim's son who was poised to take over the company? There is also the suspicious innkeeper who was determined to scare away all the hotel guests. Tell us. The murderer of Billy Kramer I, the president and CEO of Activision Games, is Ned Dillman. It was Ned Dillman, the lawyer from Coop Incorporated. What is the reason for this mockery of an accusation, detective? I'll sue you in court for defamation of character over this. I'm even going to sue your dog. You were the only one who was alone with the victim before Ty Lipson saw the ghostly figure leaving the den after you committed murder. I've got to say, Mr. Dillman, this deal I worked out with you and Comp Incorporated is finally going to give me all the money I'll ever need. Yes, well, you drive a hard bargain. 2 to 4, Mr. Kramer. Call me Billy, please. With the fortune I'm about to amass, I'm planning to start a new publishing company. I'm going to publish video games the right way. No more microtransactions, no more digital right management, and no more milking the players for cash. I'm going to start treating my employees with dignity and respect. No more mandatory forced overtime crunches. And most of all, I'm going to spend more time with my children, Billy Jr. and Lana. They need my help, and I'm going to be there for them as a father. Mark my words, Mr. Dillman. After your employer buys out my company for these generous terms, you're going to see a very different... I'm afraid that it won't be happening since the deal fell through. What do you mean the deal fell through? We're about to sign the last contract. I also drive a hard bargain. Then you killed him. That was adorable. Like a utopian dream of every and each gamer. After stabbing Billy Kramer, you used the computer speakers to play a pre-recorded conversation with his voice. That way the time of the death was obfuscated, and it seemed as though he was still alive. You then put on the white lady ghost costume, which served as a disguise while you left the den. The victim's bodyguard mistook you for Lana, the costume designer. That's ridiculous, detective. Why would I kill Billy Kramer first? My company was about to buy Hack Division games from him. After his unfortunate death, the whole deal will have to be renegotiated from scratch. Why would I want that to happen? That's exactly why I killed him. To stop the deal? No, you killed him so that you could then get a better deal. How? Billy Kramer Sr. was well known in the industry for being a strong-arm negotiator. He was very perceptive at observing the other side's weaknesses and exploiting them for his own gains. You got that right, detective. He was ruthless at the bargaining table. But in the event of his death, who takes control of Hack Division games? I do, of course. While Billy Kramer the father was a shrewd and intelligent businessman capable of devising the best deal possible for his interests, Billy Kramer II, the son, was not. That's why he was murdered, so that in the result of his death, Comp Incorporated could renegotiate the contract with Billy Jr. and get more favorable terms. How dare you insult me, detective? My father taught me everything he knows. He may have tried, but were you paying attention? You're right, Cleo. There has to be a way I can show everyone that Billy Kramer II lacks his father's business acumen. Police dog. Hey, police dog, you made it! Oof. Are you close to solving the mystery? Roof. Good, because I wanna see this episode as soon as it's on TV. The next time there is a big important meeting, I promise I'm gonna duck out and watch the show. That's what I always do, isn't it? It's much more fun than all this hard work. Billy Kramer II isn't prepared to run his father's company, and Ned Dillman figured it out. As Comp Incorporated lawyer, if he could find a way to negotiate better terms for his employer, he certainly would have been promised a strong financial incentive. So your case is that I stabbed Billy Kramer I, then I put on that ghost disguise that was witnessed by his bodyguard. The way I see it, unless you are able to produce this ghostly costume, your whole theory falls apart. There was a ghost costume. Cleo and I crossed paths with you in the lounge during the second time the electricity was turned off. Are you able to produce this alleged ghost disguise now, or has it disappeared? Where could the ghost costume have gone? It has to be someplace we haven't looked yet. Lawyer's briefcase. The lawyer's briefcase he's been carrying with him this whole time. Would you care to open your briefcase, Mr. Dillman? The contents of my briefcase are property of Comp Incorporated, and if any of you lay one finger on it, then you will be violating confidentiality. Oh, knock it off already? Give me that. Get away from all of you. You've got nowhere to go. The snowstorm is starting to let up. You'll be able to reach the police now. No, you won't get me. Oops. At that instant, Ned Dillman attempted to escape. He was stopped by the burly Ty Lipson, who restrained him until the blizzard subsided. The innkeeper called the police, and the killer was taken away. Epilogue. After the mystery was solved, all the other guests from Hack Division Games left the hotel. As fate would have it, Comp Incorporated's deal to buy Hack Division Games was blocked by European Union antitrust laws. Once news of the game publisher's murder came out, the two companies awkwardly drifted apart. For the rest of the week, Cleo and I had an entire alpine ski resort all to ourselves. Though I'm not much of a skier, Cleo can really fly down those steep mountain slopes. Cleo, you're doing great. I'll meet you at the bottom of the mountain. Control the skin movement using left and right arrows buttons. The shift button will increase the speed. Okay. Oh no. Oh, I need to collect doggy bags. Try the ski course again to collect more doggy bags? No, I'm fine. Cleo found a total of 26 doggy bags. After their return, as a special treat to celebrate solving the mystery, Guy served Cleo her favorite non-traditional Italian delicacy: vanilla, chocolate and strawberry gelato pudding. Mania bella, Cleo. Detective Guy kept the rusty old paladin sword as a memento of his time in the Italian Alps to encourage him to keep solving more spooky mysteries with his dog. I still haven't played the paladin video game, maybe another time. And this is the end. And so Detective Guy and Cleo, the clue-sniffing dog, have made it through another spooky mystery together. But what new adventures will their future hold? Until next time, thank you for watching. See you next time. Have a nice day, night, morning. Bye-bye.